So Amanda, your work focuses on gender, race, and their interrelations with violence and security and insecurity. What do you think is it that a feminist analysis can contribute to these issues?
Well, I think first and foremost, feminists tell us that war and political violence is gendered. And whilst gender itself is not biologically determinate, but rather a social category, women and men, by virtue of their social position within broader structures of patriarchy and political economy, experience war and political violence differently. And yet women's experience often gets written out of the broader war story, being seen as banal or irrelevant, rather, to the root causes of conflict. Women are often only seen as victims, and the violence on women as an unfortunate consequence of war.
Right, and we can also see this in post-conflict and peace building, where it has been shown numerous times that if women's experience are not included in the process and they don't get an equal seat at the table, then peace agreements don't last as long and peace is not as sustainable. So it's important to take these experiences into account and not focus on the state-centric notion of security that the discipline of international relation is often very preoccupied with.
That's right, yeah.
Well, more specifically about your current research project, which looks at the interrelations between political economy and security. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So this project is an Economic and Social Research Council funded project called Military to Market, Political Economies of Private Security. And its basic premise is that you cannot adequately understand contemporary security operations without accounting for questions of political economy. And what I mean by this, on a very general level, economic inequalities often underpin violence and war war is often economically lucrative for a great deal of people. But for my research, on a basic level, the security industry itself is absolutely fundamental to the way liberal states can and do wage war. And it raises questions of labor for me in terms of how are global security labor forces established, which forces are seen as desirable or otherwise, and importantly, the silenced yet indispensable role security families play in the ability for security companies to wage war, the intellectual labor that they put into seeing security work as honorable and necessary, but also the life-sustaining work of caring for the household while their partners are away doing their security operations.
And again, this is where feminist approaches are really good at moving us beyond these dichotomies between security, economy, state and non-state, and instead have us focus on security in the everyday, including environmental, economic, reproductive security, and also open up the space where we even see security. Because it does not only take place, in the official state and international security operations, but also within the household on the community level, which is also structured by gendered inequalities, violences, and insecurities.
Absolutely.